If you watch a lot of football on TV, then the chances are that you already knew what XG was when it was first announced that it would be included in Football Manager 2021. If not though, then your first response was probably to look it up on Google, where you'll have found Opta's definition that expected goals, otherwise known as XG, measures the quality of a shot based on several variables such as assist type, shot angle and distance from goal, whether it was a headed shot, and whether it was defined as a big chance. Basically, by looking into statistical data throughout time, you can get a rough idea of how many goals you'd expect each team to score in each game from the quality of shots that they're able to take in any given match. In terms of real life football, people sometimes question its value on a match by match basis, and I totally get that. Players are always going to score absolute screamers, miss sitters, and watching the full 90 minutes is probably going to give you a much better idea of how it all played out than merely looking into statistical analysis. In Football Manager though, if you're anything like me and you only watch the key highlights, you're not really going to be getting a particularly good impression of how the games are playing out as a whole, and XG can therefore provide a little more insight into the chances that you created and whether or not you probably deserve to win. The XG updates throughout the course of the match as shots are taken, and at the end of each match you'll be able to expand the XG match story for a detailed breakdown of how things played out for you comparatively to the opposition. So in this game against Real Madrid, for example, you can see that we absolutely bossed it, which is reflected not only in the XG but also in the scoreline, and you can see some significant jumps in the data in the 7th, 59th and 69th minute when we were awarded penalties. For reference, we also had the same number of shots in this game against Arsenal. The chances weren't as high quality though, and again, that's reflected in the stats. How can this information help you though and tell you what went right or in fact wrong in any particular game? Let's say for example that you just suffered an unexpected draw or defeat against a team down near the bottom of the table. Whereas previously this may have led to you completely ripping up your tactics and trying out something completely different straight away, XG can now serve as a useful source of information to potentially reassure you that your team hasn't just suddenly imploded, things just didn't quite go your way on the day. And XG can also be used as an indicator of the effectiveness of your substitutions or changes of tactics throughout the course of each match. If you know that you made major changes at half time for instance, and suddenly you can see from the XG graph that things improved massively, even if it didn't necessarily lead to any extra goals being scored on this particular occasion, it can give you an idea that this approach might be something to keep in mind for the future. And XG is probably at its most useful when measuring data over a sustained period of time. So let's say 10 games into the season, your team seems to be massively underperforming and the results haven't been going anywhere near what you're expecting. Take a look at the XG and what does that tell you about the performances throughout this period of time? You can look into things on a competition by competition basis, so in this example there's room for improvement in the Champions League. By looking into this we can get some sort of an idea about whether or not things drastically need to change and spot trends in the data that may suggest that some tweaks might be required. If there's a high number of goals expected to be scored against you, for example, then you probably need to mix things up a bit defensively. Or if you're expected to score a good number of goals and you're just not finding the back of the net for whatever reason, it's at least a good sign that you're creating those chances, and even if you're not really scoring them right now, the data can provide some guidance that with a few tweaks to the way that the players are operating, you might just have yourself a fix. The data is there to aid you, and there are multiple ways in which XG can help you. It's certainly not a perfect science, and there may be other factors at play in each game, such as changes of tactics or personnel for the opposition that are skewing the results slightly. XG can definitely help though, and in my opinion, it's been a very nice addition to the game for Football Manager 2021, and it's just another interesting bit of data that can help you analyse your results and performances throughout the course of each season. We'll definitely have plenty more Football Manager videos coming in the future, so please do stick around and subscribe if you want to see more. Leave the video a like if you've enjoyed it or found it in any way helpful, and if there are any videos in particular that you'd like to see from us in the future, then definitely leave your suggestions in the comments section. Anyway though, thanks for watching, I hope the video has been of use to you, and if you do stick around then I'll catch you again next time.